Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the things that no one else sees. The things that you thought no one saw. When you did the dishes and your mom didn't tell you thank you, Allah saw that. When you picked something off the floor and no one saw it, Allah saw that. The reason why we do things in the community is because we love that recognition. We love for people to pat us on the back and say good job. We love the volunteer appreciation dinner. We love that. But realize you're not always going to get it. And sometimes it's better for you that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw it. And it could be that that deed that you did in secret that no one saw besides Allah is the reason why you enter Jannah. And everything that you've done in the public, everything that people saw, everything that was out in the open, was stuff that you did for the wrong reasons, and you never know, that may not even count for you. And the Prophet ﷺ told us, he said, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. He said that the best among you are the best to your family, and I am the best to my family. Why does the hadith not say, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ, the best of you are the best to your communities? Or the best of you are the ones who give the best speeches? Or the best of you are the ones who give the best halaqas? Or the best of you are the best at work? Because it's really easy to be good outside. It's really easy to be nice to the people at work, because if you're not, they're going to subtweet you on Twitter. And if you're not, they're going to think you're terrible. And they're going to have this illusion of who you are, and they're going to talk bad about you. But if you do something bad to your mom, she's not going to disown you, I hope. If you're disrespecting your sister, she's still going to be your sister. But if you do something bad on the outside, you can potentially ruin a relationship. And so that's why it's easy for us to be good on the outside, but it's hard to be good at home. And that's why the hadith goes that the best of you are the best to your family, because your true character comes out at home.
What does nafila mean? Nafila is something extra. We know we have to do the fard. We know that the furud alayna is very important, and many people are struggling with the fard. I know this. But when we ask ourselves, what is nafila? We can look to the Quran to understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدْ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. So nafilatan lak means it's nafila. So this is something that is nafila. This of course is ikhtisas lil-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is something special for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, something special for his ummah, that we have this unique time at night that is nafila. What does nafila do? Nafila brings us to the love of God. And this ultimately is what we all need. And so then we look around, what is the nafila that we should be doing? And we discover that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself has described nafila as tahajjud. Okay, so now we need to get up. And in other places in the Quran, قُومُ اللَّيْلِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, get up at night except for a little. So we begin to understand this nighttime is for sleep and for worship. And when we begin to understand and think about that, we begin to walk a different path. The importance of tahajjud comes back to the importance of really what it means to be human. Because we are created to be ibadallah, to be of the worshippers of God. And we have a whole life of busyness and running around and rushing and coming at night exhausted, and we're looking for rest in 100 places. But the real rest is at night. The real rest is standing before God at night. The real rest is standing in the last third of the night, standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قُومُ اللَّيْلِ, stand up at night. To be of the worshippers of the merciful. And I want to talk a little bit about what that means, to become of the worshippers of the merciful. But to be that person, we'll talk about that maybe later, is also to define this as the one, yabitun means to settle. If you think about the word bait, a house, a place you settle, yabitun, to settle into worship. It becomes something that you're at home with, something that you settle your heart in. And it's very interesting, the verse, because it begins with sujjadan. So yabituna in prostration to God, in great humbleness to God. And then qiyaman. And think about that. When we talk about the fuqah of prayer, when we think about what's the most important part of the prayer, if you have bad knees or if you have an injury, you break your leg or something like that, what do you have to do? We have to make sure about qiyam. We have to make sure about the standing up at night, right? Or the standing in prayer, which is the standing at night, the establishing of the prayer. And sujood is the thing that if we break our leg or something, we don't have to do. Yet in this verse, sujjadan wa qiyaman, sujood comes first. Why? Because it's not only an action. Because the nighttime prayer is not only an action of the body. It's not only an action of the forehead kissing the ground. It's also an action of the heart. And tahajjud is the place where our heart wakes up and where our heart rests. And so when we begin to develop a habit of tahajjud, nafilatan lak, this nafila, this special thing that it's not a farud, no, it's not an obligation. Think about your children. When you ask your children to do something that is an obligation and they do it, you're happy. But what if they come and do something extra? Maybe you ask your kids to unload the dishwasher and you come upstairs or you come into the kitchen and you find out they unloaded the dishwasher and they did the dishes. Of course, in a way, it's a silly comparison. But as parents, we know how that feels. You didn't have to nag for the dishwasher to get unloaded. You didn't have to fuss about all of these things, about whatever it is to take the garbage out or whatever the thing is. And on top of that, they did something extra. Imagine if you're a son or daughter, after you told them to take the garbage out, you discovered they washed the garbage tins. Allah, you might faint, fall on the chair and say, what in the world was that? But certainly you'll look at that child with the eye of appreciation, of love.
لك سر عند الله بينك أنت وبين الله هل لك صدقات تخفى لا يعلمها إلا الله هل لك سر عند الله